Friends, welcome back to another episode of the Find a Way podcast with Dusty. Hopefully you're doing well in your journey. I wanted to I'm posting on a podcast. No. Wanted to record an episode more specific to an item that a lot of questions have come from me sharing, especially now that I'm connected with Legion, and it's about an appetite suppressant. I always, when I was 4 or 5, 300 pounds, struggling with my weights, it was always labeled as a fat burner because obviously it caught the attention of, hey, I want to burn fat, I want to lose weight, that's the way I want to go. And so that was oftentimes the way it was promoted and pushed, is that melt the pounds away, melt the fat away with this fat burner. And I fell for it. Before I really dove into the knowledge and education of food, nutrition, label reading. That's the huge thing, label reading. I always thought that it was just something that was burning. Honestly, I thought it was a chemical inside of a pill that was disintegrating fat within my body, and then I should be seeing results rather quickly after taking the fat burner. And oftentimes these fat burners would either come with a stimulant like caffeine, or some of it would be a non-stimulant version. Regardless of whether it's got a stimulant or not, I was under the common misconception that, hey, it's melting the fat away. And that's something that I've shared recently. There's a product with Legion called Phoenix, and I've shared about it. It's actually the item that is the most frequently purchased as far as referrals. And so when I share my link and someone uses my link or uses my code Dusty, you usually get a discount, but it also tracks what exactly folks get. And the number one item that folks are getting is Phoenix. And understandably, with my page and everything that I've got, an appetite suppressant, especially with my community, it makes sense. So I wanted to provide a little bit more of a detailed understanding of what it is. That way, if you do decide to go with it, you've got all the knowledge and you've got all the information that you need to make that decision. The big thing and why I like being connected with Legion is you don't need supplements to lose weight. Like, you don't need the Phoenix fat burner to lose weight. You don't need it. It can help, but you don't need it. And that's the bridge of, I need this to lose weight. You don't. You don't need it. It can help. It can provide an assist. It can be a additional tool in your toolbox of losing weight, but it's not something that you need. And pushing that it's mandatory is not something I'm going to share or push. You don't need it, but it can help. Now, with the appetite suppressant, it is not a capsule full of magical powder that is disintegrating existing fats. It is not able to target a specific area of fats. Hey, I want to take a fat burner and target my excessive weight underneath my arms, my flaps, my midsection, my legs. It is not able to go specifically to an area and melt or disintegrate fat. It is not a magic pill of, you take this, it's going to lean you, you're not going to take it and go, man, I'm leaner because of it. What a fat burner is, and the reason why that label, especially in a supplement company, it's not regulated, so they can use terms and words and word plays to achieve an optimal, hey, look at this. And that's what a fat burner is. It's not melting or disintegrating fat. It is essentially an appetite suppressant. What that means is your appetite, depending on how you eat, your structure of eating, oftentimes either through bored eating, through routine or habitual eating, through possibly stress eating, whatever the case is, we have habits and tendencies that got us to our top weight. And so in order to combat that, in order to lose weight, we've got to, I'm trying to find the best words for this. You've got to reposition your eating habits and eating plan to support your goal of losing weight. So if you've eaten a certain way and it's gotten you to your top weight, that plan, routine, that way of eating has to change. And so because that has to change, there's difficulty that comes with it. What an appetite suppressant really is it makes it a little bit easier to re-navigate, to reposition, to restructure your eating plan. So if you are used to, hey, I always after work go to fast food and I pick up 2,000 calories worth of food and it sabotages my diet, and then you want to develop a new structure, a new way of doing things, you're wanting to revamp how you do things so that way ultimately your goal is achieved in losing weight or getting smaller or changing your eating habits, whatever the structure of that is, the appetite suppressant is merely there to support it. So as an example, I take the Phoenix product typically around 2 p.m. What that is for me, I typically, and this is just my particular eating structure, it's how it works best for the household with kids. It's just how it works for me. I'm not on a, like, hey, I'm doing intermittent fasting because I don't have a, like, hey, it's 12 to 8 intermittent fasting. Well, I'm not stopping to eat at 8 o'clock. I'm not paying attention. So I'm not on a structure, but I typically won't eat until noon. And I feel better. I've tried it both ways and I feel better. I feel clear. I feel more cognizant, especially during early morning work meetings. So I don't typically eat until about 12. Well, I have my first meal right there at 12. Right around 2 p.m., I'll take Phoenix as an appetite suppressant, and it essentially will prolong that full feeling, that satisfied feeling. Then I'll go typically into my snack. Then I'll typically go into my off-work meal. And then I'll typically have a later meal after the kids go to bed, typically about 3 meals, but usually within the 12 to 9 o'clock, 12 to 10 o'clock time period. Because how it used to be for me, I would wake up at 7 a.m., I'd have 3,000 calories at McDonald's before I could blink an eye. Because I had a routine and a process of things, this really works for me, and the appetite suppressant has really supported my prolonged appetite suppressant, so I don't have that longing to go back in and to quote-unquote do damage. And what fat burners are appetite suppressants, and you want to make sure that whatever you're doing in the form of getting an appetite suppressant, that it has less fillers, has less fluff, has stuff in that, it has the stuff that it needs to have, and it doesn't have the things that just mean absolutely nothing, especially when you're buying a supplement. So what I mean by that is a proprietary blend. And I've talked about this before. There are supplement companies will oftentimes fluff up their particular supplement. We've got this, 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 and this. They'll put all of those thises into a blend. They won't tell you how much of this is in that blend, but they can say that they have it, so they'll promote it. We've got, it's like, well, how much is in it? Difference, especially with Legion, is that it'll specifically tell you, this is what's in it, this is how much is in it. There's nothing else. That's it. And so you know exactly what it is, especially on their website. It'll explain in detail why it's in there and what it's doing and the benefits of it. So if you're thinking about getting an appetite suppressant, you have to make sure that you're planning on using it and doing it at the time that works convenient. It probably won't work, in my personal opinion. You're waking up first thing in the morning. Depending on your eating structure, maybe you want to hold off eating first thing. Maybe you're someone that eats first thing and it's not going to work for you. Just taking it at a random time isn't going to work. You're going to have to strategically plan when to take it and how it's going to impact restructuring, rerouting your eating habits so that you can ultimately lose weight. So I'm hoping that provides a little bit more insight on the fat burner myths out there and what it truly is and how it potentially could help. Again, any influencer in the world, hey, you need this. To lose weight, you've gotta. No, you don't need supplements to lose weight. The right ones can help, but you don't need them. So just a big, hey, former 500-pounder, I've lost weight, I've kept it off, I've learned the industry, I've learned how they do things. Just be careful out there. And if it's something that supports your particular journey, then use it. Use it as a tool. Everything that we do to lose weight are different facets of tools that will ultimately lead to us doing or achieving the goal of losing weight and keeping it off. So I'm hoping that helped, hoping that provided a little bit of insight of appetite suppressants or fat burners. And if you have any other questions, you can put them in the comments on this particular episode or shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'll talk to you soon.